an audio-only recording of an exercise session for Vision of Adventure. This recording is supported by Disability Rights UK, a yoga session led by Carol Downing.
Welcome to our yoga class. So as usual, as I say at the start of every session, please do listen to your own body. This is your yoga practice. So only do the things that you're comfortable with. And within our yoga postures, we should be aiming to be working with the breath and to feel comfortable and at ease breathing in each of all the postures. So if you haven't got that, then please do just pull back from the posture or try one of the variations, especially if you've got a little niggle or an injury or something. So we're going to start with some breath work, as we usually do. So I'd invite you to start sitting on your mat with your legs stretched out, with your feet on the mat, and your knees up towards the ceiling. So your legs are about hip distance apart. And then we're going to bring the top of the body down to the floor. So the whole of the back and the head is coming down to the floor. Got our legs about hip distance apart, our feet are flat on the mat. It doesn't matter what the distance is between your bottom and your feet, whatever's comfortable for you really. And then I'd invite you to tuck your chin into your chest. So you've got a nice little stretch in the back of the neck and have a little bit of a wriggle on that lower back. What we're aiming for is to make a good connection between the lower back and the floor. You see if you can make some contact there. And then you can either have your hands on your belly, which is quite nice because then you can feel the breath in your body, or you can take your hands down to the side, whichever's comfortable for you. So we're going to start by breathing in and out through the nose. So we're going to inhale and we're going to take the breath all the way down to the belly. So as we breathe in, we're going to take the breath down to the belly and maybe we're going to feel that belly rise up towards the ceiling as the belly fills with breath. And then we're going to pause at the top of the inhale. We're going to exhale and we're going to feel that belly fall down towards the floor. I'm just going to mute you all actually. Sorry, I forgot to do that in my excitement, but you'd all arrived. Okay, so we're going to carry on with that breath. So we're going to inhale through the nose, take that really nice long breath, feel the belly fill with breath, feel the belly rise up towards the ceiling. We're going to pause at the top of the inhale, and then as we exhale, we feel the belly fall back down towards the spine and towards the floor. So let's just do a couple more of these breaths in your own time and maybe to your own count. You can try and make your exhale a little bit longer than your inhale, and that's really good. And we also want to just let any thoughts that might be crowding into our mind just float away and focus on that lovely breath. So as we complete that last belly breath now, we're just going to let our breath come back to its normal pattern. We're going to take our hands, if you've had them on the belly, down to the side. With our palms are going to be flat on the floor now. We've still got our chin tucked into the chest. And we're going to walk our feet in towards our bottom. So we want to draw our heels as close to our bottom as we can. And if we stretch our fingers down towards our heels, then maybe our fingers can touch our heels. But if they don't, then that's fine. We want to keep our legs still nice and parallel. And we want a really nice contact with the ground, with the soles of the feet and the small of the back. And we will still want our chin tucked into our chest. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to press down through our feet. And as we press down through our feet, we're going to lift our bottom off the mat. And we're going to carry on lifting the back off the floor. We're going to see if we can really peel the back off the floor, vertebrae by vertebrae, and move towards resting on the shoulders. And when we've got some height, we're really going to push those hips up towards the ceiling. We're going to try and keep our legs nice and still and parallel. And when you've gone as high as you can go, we're going to hold it here. We're going to really see if we can push those hips a little bit further. We're going to see if we can keep those legs nice and still and parallel and strong. And see if we can really feel the contact with the mat through our feet and our shoulders. And our chin is still tucked into our chest. And then we're going to reverse and we're going to come down nice and slowly, starting at the shoulders. We're going to see if we can roll our back down vertebrae by vertebrae. So this can feel quite strange. So if you want to feel that you're pushing your bottom towards your heels as you slowly unfurl your back down towards the floor. So keep it nice and steady and nice and slow, and see if you can really get this movement in the spine to bring the whole of the back down to the mat. And then we're going to pause on the mat for a moment and we're just going to reset. Have a little wriggle of that lower back. See that your chin's still tucked into your chest and that the jaw is nice and relaxed and not clenched. And then we're going to inhale and we're going to go again. We're going to press down into our feet. And as we press down into our feet, we're going to start the movement. We're lifting the bottom off the mat. We're keeping the legs nice and still and parallel. We're unfurling that back nice and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. We're working towards the shoulders. And now we've got some height. We're really pushing those hips up towards the ceiling as far as we can. The chin's tucked into the chest. The palms of the hands are pressed down flat into the mat. The feet, the shoulders. We're going to hold it here and take a breath. So inhaling and exhaling, nice and smooth. Pushing those hips up towards the ceiling. Pushing the knees away from the body. And then we're going to reverse. We're going to come back down to the mat. So again, we're going to see if we can really unfurl our back vertebrae by vertebrae, keeping the legs nice and still and parallel. And keep it nice and slow and controlled and steady. It gets harder as we get towards the base of the spine. So keep on rolling until the whole of the back is back down on the mat. Well done. And then we're going to draw our knees into our chest and we're going to bring our arms round and we're going to hug our knees into our chest and we're going to have a little bit of a roll from side to side. We're just going to massage that lower spine on the mat as we gently rock from side to side. And we're still breathing, maybe drawing the knees in with the inhale and releasing them a little with the exhale. And then we're going to remove our hands from our knees. We're going to place our palms flat on the floor, either side of the hips. And we're going to rock back on our spine. And we're going to take our legs and our feet overhead, stretching our feet behind our head as we rock back on our spine. And then we're going to rock forward on our spine. And we're going to let our legs and our feet drop down to the mat in front of us. Lovely. And then we're going to swing those legs forward in front of us. And we're going to find a cross-legged seating position in the centre of the mat. So find a position that's comfortable for you. I'd invite you to find those sit bones, so have a little bit of a wriggle and move that flesh around so that you really feel that you're sitting on your sit bones. And if it helps to sit on a cushion or a folded up blanket, then please do so. So when we're sitting cross-legged, we want to think about having a nice straight back. So we really want to inhale and lift the chest, drop the shoulders down away from the ears, draw the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, and just take a breath here. And then we're going to take our arms out to the side and we're going to rest our fingers gently on the mat. And with the next inhale, we're going to lift our hands from the floor and we're slowly going to draw our arms up and overhead. We're going to feel like we're really squeezing the air between our arms. So make it count and bring those arms up overhead and draw your palms together over your head. That's lovely. And then we turn our palms out and away from each other and we slowly, with an exhale, we draw those arms down towards the floor. Again, feeling like we're really pressing the air below our arms and we're really stretching our fingers away from our shoulders. So we're really making this simple movement work for us. And then when the hands are back on the mat, we're going to repeat that once more. We're just going to check in with our posture, see we're still sitting up nice and tall. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to lift the arms. The palms are facing towards each other. We're drawing the arms up overhead. We're bringing the palms together. We're really waking up those arms and those shoulders. We bring the palms together overhead. And then we turn the palms away from each other. And we reverse and we bring the arms back down to the mat. So stretch the fingers away from the shoulders. Push the air below your arms. And let your arms lower nice and slowly all the way down to the mat. Lovely. And then we're going to reset here for a moment, thinking about sitting on our sit bones, thinking about sitting up nice and tall. And then we're going to leave the left hand on the mat. And we're going to bring the right hand and the right arm up and overhead. We're bending the left elbow and we're letting the body sink over towards the left hand side. And the arm is coming up overhead. So with this movement, we want to try and keep both sit bones still rooted into the ground. We want to keep our body nice and straight. So we want to avoid trying to roll forward or lean back. So think about lifting from the chest. And we're going to hold it here for one more breath. Really stretch those fingers away from the shoulders. And think about rooting that right sit bone really firmly into your mat. And then we're going to release and we're going to bring that right arm back up to center and we're going to let it float back down to the side until the hand is back on the mat. And we're just going to reset here. And then we're going to inhale, we're going to keep the right hand on the mat. We're going to bring the left arm up and over. We're bending the right elbow and we're letting the body sink down towards the right hand side. Stretching that left arm over. You might feel that one side is different from the other. And again, as we stretch over to the side, we want to think about where our body is. Is it still nice and straight? Are we not leaning forward or leaning back? Is our left sit bone still rooted down into the mat? And are we lifting through the chest and lifting the left arm and lifting the left hand? That's lovely. One more breath here. And then we're going to release and we're going to bring that left arm back to center, bring the body back to center, and we let the left arm float back down to the mat till both hands are back on the mat either side. And we're just going to reset here. We're maybe just going to take a little roll in those shoulders. So we're going to roll those shoulders up and back. Let's do that twice. And then let's roll those shoulders up and forward. Let's do that twice, really loosening up those shoulder blades. Lovely. And then placing the hands back on the floor, either side of the hips. And with the next inhale, we're going to lift the hands off the mat and we're going to swing the right hand forward and we're going to find the left knee with the right hand and we're taking the left arm and the left hand behind our body and we're placing the left hand on the floor. And as we inhale, we're twisting the whole of the upper body over towards the left hand side. So again, in this twist, we want to think about lifting the chest, lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling and firmly rooting those sit bones down into the ground. And as we breathe here, we want to think about letting the shoulders soften down away from the ears. We're going to take one more breath on this side in this twist. And then we're going to release both hands, taking the hand away from the knee, away from the floor. And we're going to swing that right hand in front of the body and we're going to bring both hands to rest on the floor, either side of the hips once more. And then we reset here and then we inhale, we lift both hands off the mat. And this time we swing the left arm in front of the body and we take the left hand over to find the left knee and we take the right hand behind and we place the right hand on the floor. And we twist the upper body round to face the right hand side. And then we settle into this twist, softening the shoulders down away from the ears, connecting with the ground through the sit bones, lifting the chest, lifting the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, Taking one more breath here in this lovely twist. And then we release the hand from the knee and from the floor. And we swing that left hand in front of the body. And we bring both hands down to rest on the mat at either side. Lovely. And then we're going to release the cross from our legs. And we're going to swing those legs out behind us. We're going to come onto our knees and onto our hands. We're coming onto all fours to find our tabletop position. So in tabletop, we've got our lower legs on the mat. The tops of the feet are flat on the mat. We want to make sure that our knees are directly under our hips and that our hands are directly under our shoulders. So we want to feel in this tabletop position that our back is as flat as it can be. We want to keep our head nicely level and in line with the spine. So we're just going to take a breath here as we press down through our arms and our hands and see if we can lift the chest, pull the belly in towards the spine, find that nice flat back and take a breath. And then we're going to do some circles here. So we're going to loosen everything out. We're going to take our bottom back towards our heels. And then we're going to take our bottom out to the side. And then we're going to bring our weight forward over our hands. We're going to take our bottom out to the other side. And we're going to roll back towards the heels. So let's roll once more in that direction. Keep it nice and fluid. And this time when we reach our heels, we're going to roll forward and take that roll in the opposite direction. So really move the legs, the spine, the hips. And then we're going to come back after that second roll in that opposite direction. We're going to come back to our nice neutral position. So we're just going to check in with our knees underneath our hips and our hands underneath our shoulders. We're going to check in that we're lifting our chest, we're pulling the belly in towards the spine, and the head is relaxed and nice and level with the spine while we take a breath here. And then we're going to take that, come onto the toes of our right leg, and we're going to take that right foot out behind us, and we're going to rest on the toes with that right leg stretched behind us. And we're just going to rock forward and back on our toes. So as we rock back, we push the heel away from the body. And then we roll forward on our toes and bring our weight forward over our hands. And then we rock back on our toes, pushing the heel away from the body. You should really feel this stretch in your calf. And then roll forward, taking the weight over the hands. And one final time, we rock back on our toes. And then we rock forward, taking the weight over the hands. And then we bring that knee back into the starting position. And we're just going to swing our hips from side to side. And maybe we're just going to give our wrists a little bit of a shake, so we don't want them to get stiff. And then we're going to come onto the toes of the right foot again. And we're going to take that right leg out behind us. And we're going to rest on the toes. We're going to hold it here, and then we're going to lift that right leg up behind us. The toes are pointing down towards the mat, and we're going to see if we can lift the leg so that it's in line with the spine. So as we do so, we're going to check in with the rest of our body, and we're going to see that our body's not leaning over towards the left. Can we keep everything else still nice and straight and parallel? And is our head still nicely level with the spine? We're going to take one breath here, and then we're going to lift the left hand off the mat, and we're going to raise the right arm up towards our ear, and we're going to stretch that left arm away from our body. The fingers are stretching away from the shoulders. So we're really pressing down into our right hand and our right knee, and we're trying to lift the chest, pull that belly button in towards the spine, and see if we can create a nice straight line all the way along our arm, our back, and our leg. And then we're going to draw that hand and that leg back in. We're going to come to our neutral position. We're going to swing those hips from side to side, and we're going to shake those wrists out. Lovely. And then we're going to come to our starting position once more. And we're just going to pause and take a moment to feel this nice flat back position before we start to work on the opposite side. So now we come up onto the toes of the left foot. And that left foot travels along the mat, and we stretch that left leg out behind us so that we're resting on our left toes. And then we're rocking back on those left toes and pushing that left heel away from the body, feeling the stretch in the leg. And then we roll forward, taking our body weight over the hands as we rock forward on the toes. And then we rock back on the toes, really push that heel away from the body. And we roll forward once more. And one final time, rocking back on the toes, feeling that stretch. And then we rock forward, taking the weight over the hands. And then we bring that leg back in and we swing those hips. And maybe we give those wrists a little bit of a shake if you need it before we come back to our neutral position. And we pause, thinking about the position of the head. It's still nicely in line with the spine. And then we tuck the left toes under once more. And the left foot travels out behind us and we rest on those left toes with the leg stretched out behind. And then with the next inhale, we're going to lift that left leg up off the floor. We're going to try and bring it so it's in line with the spine. The toes are pointing down towards the floor. We're checking in with our body. We're seeing that we haven't let our body slump over to the right. We're trying to lift the chest, pull the belly button in towards the spine, keep everything else nice and strong. And if you're happy here, we're going to lift the right hand off the mat and we're going to lift the right arm away from the floor. We're going to try and bring that right arm so that it's level with our head and our ear. And we're stretching our fingers away from our shoulders. And we're seeing if we can create this lovely straight line all the way along the arm, the back, and the leg. We're going to hold it here for one more breath. Well done. And then we're going to release. We're going to bring the arm back down. We're going to bring the foot back down. And this time we're going to bring our knees and our legs and our feet together. We're going to drop our bottom back towards our heels as far as you can. We're going to release our hands and we're going to take our arms behind us with our back of the hands flat on the floor, the palms facing up towards the ceiling and the fingers stretching out towards our toes. And we're going to lower our body and our head down towards our legs and the floor. So this is our resting child's pose. So we're going to take 2 lovely breaths here. We're going to see if we can soften our bottom down towards our heels. Soften the shoulders down away from the ears. Just focus on your breath for one more breath. And then we're going to draw the hands forward along the mat. And then we're going to turn the palms and place the palms flat on the mat underneath the shoulders. And we're going to lift our upper body as we walk our hands forward in front. We're going to release those legs and we're going to bring the legs so that they're about hip distance apart now. And we're going to tuck both toes under behind us. We're going to prepare to come up into our down dog. So we drop our bottom back towards our heels. You might want to think about where your hands are. You might want to walk your hands forward a little. You want your arms to be parallel. You want to drop your head so that it's heavy and hangs between your arms. And we're going to press down into our arms and into our hands. And we're going to press our heels down towards the floor. And we're going to lift our knees off the mat. And then we're going to straighten those legs and we're going to take the hips up towards the ceiling and we're going to find our down dog. So we're going to keep our down dog nice and fluid to start with. So we're walking it out. We're lifting alternate heels and bending alternate legs. And we're swinging those hips from side to side. We're thinking about the position of our hands. We want our fingers nicely spread and flat in the mat. The distance between your feet and your hands wants to feel nice and comfortable. So maybe If your feet are really far back towards the back of the mat, you want to move them in. You want to feel like you're creating a really nice V shape with your body. And you want to let your head hang between your hands. And then we're going to come to stillness, and we're going to draw our heels down towards the floor as far as they will go. And we're going to hold it here and take a breath. And then we're going to walk our feet along the mat towards our hands. So we're keeping our knees nicely bent, and we're walking our hands forward. And we want to bring our feet so that they're between our hands, and maybe you can touch your little toes to your thumbs. So you want your legs can be parallel or they can be closer together. You want your knees really bent so that you can keep your hands flat on the floor. And you want to let your upper body fold forward, and you want to try and let the crown of the head drop down towards the floor. So it doesn't matter how bent your knees are. It's more important to bend your knees and keep your hands flat. We're going to take a breath here. And then we're going to inhale, and we're going to lift our hands off the mat. We're going to find our shins or our ankles with our hands. We're going to take our chest away from the legs, straightening out the legs, and moving the head away from the body to find our half forward fold. So we're working towards a flat back that's parallel with the floor, and we're going to hold it here. Lovely. And then we're going to release, and we're going to drop our hands back down to the floor, either side of the feet. The hands are flat on the mat. We're letting our upper body fold forward once more. The shoulders are soft, and the crown of the head is dropping down towards the floor. And we're going to hold it here. And then we're going to release our hands from the floor. We're going to find opposite elbows with opposite hands. We're going to cross those arms, and we're going to let our head hang down towards the arms. We're finding our ragdoll, and we're going to bring some movement into this ragdoll. So you can bring whatever movement feels good for you. You can nod your head. You can swing your head from side to side. You can swing your arms, swing your hips. Do whatever feels good. And whilst you're here, just take your attention to your toes. See that you're not scrunching your toes into the mat. Take your attention to your shoulders. Keep your shoulders nice and soft. Got one more breath here in this lovely ragdoll. And then we're going to release the elbows from the hands. We're going to take the hands flat on the floor, either side of the feet, dropping the crown of the head down towards the floor. And then we're going to walk both feet back behind us once more until we find our down dog position again. And we're just going to walk it out while we think about our V shape. And then we're going to come to stillness. We're going to draw those heels down towards the floor. Head is heavy and hands between your hands. We're going to take a breath. And then with the next inhale, we're going to take the right foot off the mat, and we're going to stretch the right leg out behind us as far as it will go. We're going to hold it here and take a breath. And then we're going to bend the right knee, and we're going to see if we can take the right foot over towards the left buttock and raise the right knee out away from the body. We're going to hold it here. We're going to see if we can keep the rest of our body nice and still. Our shoulders and our hips are nice and parallel. And then we're going to push that right foot away from the body, straightening out the leg. And then we're going to let it float back down to the mat. And we're going to lower both heels down towards the floor in our down dog. And we're going to pause and take a breath. And then we're taking the right leg off the mat once more, and we're stretching it out behind us. And this time we're bending the knee, and we're bringing the whole leg under the body, and the foot is traveling forward, and we're going to place the foot between our hands. If it doesn't reach, we're going to shuffle it forward, and we're going to drop the back knee down to the mat, and we're going to release the back foot so that the back foot is flat on the floor. So we've got our right foot forward, and it's placed between our hands, and our left leg is behind us with the left knee and the left foot on the mat. So this is our low lunge. We're going to come up onto our fingertips and we're going to lift our chest up away from that right thigh. We're going to drop the shoulders away from the ears. We're going to let the hips sink down towards the floor. And we're going to breathe into this lovely low lunge. So we're going to inhale and exhale. And as you exhale, we're going to see if we can drop those hips down to the floor a little bit more. We've got one more breath here. And then we're going to leave the left hand on the mat next to our foot. We're going to take the right hand and the right arm off the floor. We're going to stretch that right arm up and overhead. We're going to try and stack the right shoulder over the left shoulder. We're going to twist our body and turn our head in the same direction as our hand. And we're stretching our right hand up towards the ceiling. We're going to hold this twist, inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to gently let that right hand float back down to the floor so that both hands are framing our front foot once more. We're going to come up onto the toes of our back leg and we're going to release that back knee up above the mat. And we're going to bring our right foot, our front foot from the front. We're going to bring it back to meet our back foot. So we're going to find our down dog position once more. And we're just going to walk it out, swinging the hips, taking a breather. And then we're going to come to stillness. So we're going to draw those heels down towards the mat. And then we're going to work on the left-hand side now. So we're taking the left leg out behind us. We're stretching the foot up towards the ceiling as high as it will go. And as we breathe here, we're thinking about drawing that right heel down towards the floor. We're thinking about keeping the rest of the body nice and still and parallel. And then we're floating that left leg back down towards the floor. And when it reaches the floor, we're just going to walk out our down dog again, swing the hips. And then we're going to come to stillness and draw those heels down towards the floor. And with the next inhale, we take the left leg out behind us once more. We stretch the leg away, we stretch the foot up towards the ceiling. And this time we bend at the knee and we try and bring that left foot over towards the right buttock. And we try and lift that left knee up away from the floor. So just do whatever feels good for you here. It doesn't have to be too high. It's better to try and keep everything nice and still. You can keep a nice bend in that right knee if that's more comfortable for you. And then we're stretching the left leg out behind us once more. And we're floating that left leg back down to the mat. We find our down dog again. We're drawing both heels down towards the mat and taking a breath. And then with the next inhale, we take the left leg out behind us once more. But this time we bend at the knee and we bring the whole leg under the body. And we travel that foot forward and we try and place it between our hands, or we just shuffle it forward. And then we drop our back knee behind us and we release our back toes. So we should find that we've got our left foot centrally placed between our hands in front of us. And our right leg is flat on the mat and the top of the right foot is flat on the mat. So then we come up onto our fingers and we lift our chest away from that left thigh. We're going to drop the shoulders down away from the ears. We're going to soften those hips down towards the floor. We're going to breathe into this slow lunge, feeling the stretch. Got one more breath here. And then leaving the right hand on the floor this time, we're going to bring the left hand off the mat. We're going to take the left arm up and overhead. We're going to open up the chest. We're trying to stack the left shoulder over the right shoulder. We're turning and twisting to take our gaze up towards our left hand. And we're going to hold it here for one more breath in this lovely twist. And then we're going to release, and we're going to let that left hand float back down to the mat so that we've got both hands framing the front foot. And once it reaches the floor, we're going to come up onto the toes of our back leg, and we're going to lift that back knee. And then we're going to take the front foot back to meet the back foot, and we're going to find our down dog briefly one final time. We're going to walk it out, swing the hips. And then we're going to come to stillness, and we're going to drop those heels down towards the floor. And then we're going to drop our knees down to the mat, and we're going to release the toes so that the feet are flat on the mat. And we're going to walk our toes together, and we're going to walk our knees apart. So you want to take your knees maybe as wide as the mat or as wide as is comfortable for you, but keep your toes together. And then we're going to ease our bottom back towards our heels. So as you ease your bottom back towards your heels, you're going to walk your hands forward flat on the mat, and we're going to let our heart and our head sink down towards the floor. So this is our extended child's pose. So in this posture, we want to try and keep everything nice and soft behind us. So we want soft hips sinking down towards our heels. We want soft shoulders sinking down away from the ears. But we want nice active arms and active fingers. So your arms are stretching forward and your fingers are maybe really making contact with the floor. And then we're going to lift our head from the floor, and we're going to walk our hands along the floor over towards the left-hand side. So you want to take your hands over to the left as far as they will go until you feel a nice side stretch. And then you're going to let your head drop back down towards the floor. And we're going to hold it here for 2 breaths in this lovely side stretch. And then we're going to lift our head from the mat. And keeping the hands on the floor, we're going to walk the hands back to the center of the mat. And we're going to carry on walking the hands along the floor all the way over to the opposite side. And again, just go as far as is comfortable for you. And then you're going to drop your head back down towards the floor. And we're going to hold this side stretch for 2 lovely breaths. And then lifting the head from the mat once more, but keeping the hands on the mat. We're going to walk the hands along the floor back to center. And this time when we get to center, we're going to pause and we're going to walk those hands along the floor back towards our body. And as we do so, we're going to lift our body, and we're going to release those legs and those toes, and we're going to bring our knees and our legs and our feet together. We're going to tuck our toes under behind us, and we're going to drop our bottom back onto our heels, and we're going to keep our hands moving forward up our legs as we bring our upper body up, and we're resting our bottom on our heels, and we've got our toes tucked under. So what we want to do here is we're going to give our toes a bit of a stretch. So we're just going to have a look at our toes, and we're going to see if we can get all 5 toes onto the mat. And we're going to sit back, so drop your bottom back down onto your heels, so put some pressure onto those toes. I'm going to take one more breath here. And then we're going to lean forward onto your hands. We're going to release the toes, and we're going to take the tops of the feet, and we're going to give them a little bit of a shake on the floor to release any tension. That's lovely. And then we're going to swing our legs out to the side, and we're going to take them out in front of us. And keeping our feet flat on the floor and our knees pointing up towards the ceiling, we're going to take our upper body back down to the mat where we started our practice. But now we're going to walk our feet out so that they're as wide as the mat. And we're going to let our knees drop in together, and maybe our knees can find each other in the center space between our feet. We're going to take our arms out at shoulder height, and we're going to bend at the elbows and find our cactus arms. And we're going to tuck our chin into our chest so that we've got a nice stretch in the back of the neck. And we should have a nice stretch across the chest from our cactus arms. And we're going to have a little bit of a wriggle of that lower back. And we're going to see if we can make contact between the floor and the lower back, just as we did at the beginning of our practice. And we're going to rest here for 3 lovely breaths. This is our constructed rest position. So we're letting gravity do the work on the legs. The knees are just gently falling together. We shouldn't be doing any work now. We should just be enjoying the rest and focusing on our breath, letting our breath come back to its normal pattern. Got one final breath here. And then we're going to release those knees, and we're going to draw both knees into the chest. We're going to bring our arms forward, and we're going to hook those knees into our chest. We're going to have a final roll from side to side on that lower back. And as we inhale, we're going to draw the knees into the chest. And as we exhale, we're going to release the knees a little. So just enjoy this final breath and that final roll on your lower back. And then we're going to release our hands from our knees, and we're going to let our knees fall over to one side, and our body's going to roll over and follow. And then we're going to use our arms and our hands to help us, and we're going to very gently bring ourselves back up into a sitting position. And then I'd invite you to join me to find your cross-legged sitting position once more, to bring your hands together in prayer, to bring your thumbs to your chest, and to join me in one final inhale and exhale to complete our practice. Namaste. So thank you everybody for joining us. I think you got to unmute yourselves. We just want to say goodbye. I hope that